Hello, lacrosse friends, and welcome to Lacrosse Link, your source for everything lacrosse. This week, very special episode. We are joined by four players who share a special connection. They are Jonathan Donville, who was the first pick in the recent National Lacrosse League entry draft to the Panther City Lacrosse Club, Ryan Lanchbury, who went second in that draft to the Georgia Swarm, Patrick Kaschalk, the 16th pick to the Albany Firewolves, and Jack Kelly, the 21st pick to the New York Riptide. What they share in common is they were all minor midget players playing for the Team Ontario midget team back in the 2013 National Championships, the minor nationals championship that they won in a very exciting final game. And we are fortunate to have all four of them from their respective schools, where they've all gone back to school for their final year of eligibility. And they're all with us this week on Lacrosse Link. Really fun talking with them about the draft, about that midget on Team O, and their experiences in both. So I'm glad you're with us here. I know you're going to enjoy this. Please make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell, like, share broadly with all your friends who would love to see this episode, which is everyone who loves the game of lacrosse, right? We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the four minor midget teammates who became four high NLL draft picks right here on Lacrosse Link.
Beautiful play, Aaron Greyeyes. He is having himself a tournament.
So he's definitely physical, athletic, and somebody to be watching for.
In the middle, it just bounces off, but it's picked up and scored.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
As promised, I am joined by four of the top picks from this year's NLL draft and four guys who played for Team Ontario as minor midgets, which is not really that normal a thing. And we're going to have a nice chat with all of them: Jonathan Donville, Ryan Lanchbury, Patrick Kaschalk, and Jack Kelly. And Jonathan, I want to start with you. For you, going first overall, obviously very exciting. And now, I mean, everyone's back at school. You are the one who switched because you were at Cornell and you're now at Maryland. Going first overall, very exciting. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're the new guy again. You're a first overall draft pick, but you're also the new guy. How is everything going with the draft and getting back to school and training?
Yeah, it's been an interesting experience. Obviously, the draft is, on one hand, a culmination of a lot of things, and on the other hand, a new beginning. So that's been kind of a fun process. And, that was on Saturday, and then this is the first week of school. And in a lot of ways, I was feeling like a freshman again this week, and acclimated to a new campus and all that kind of stuff. But it's just been exciting. It's been all the guys down here have been great. Everyone was super supportive last Saturday. Coaching staff's been great. So it was a cool moment on Saturday, but it's also good to get back to work and start thinking about next season.
Any expectations for the season coming up? As it's obviously a very different experience when you've become a veteran. You've been going back to school every year, and now all of a sudden, like you said, a very new immersion.
I'm not sure about expectations. There's a lot of outstanding lacrosse players on this team at Maryland, and there's so much talent and a lot of guys who work hard and are competitive athletes. So. I think there's a lot of expectations from outside the program, but within, it's just about, trying to work as hard as you can and be competitive and get better. And then, when the season starts, the chips will fall where they may. And on a personal level, it's kind of how I see it too. There's a lot of things I can't control, but, just trying to get ourselves ready, get myself ready to go in the spring, and then whatever happens, it happens.
Ryan, you go second overall in the draft, and I did a piece during the draft and wrote some after about you and Jonathan being such good friends for so long, and started, as your dad put it, you started as rivals when you're 4 or 5, and then came together in Burlington. So it must have been pretty exciting for you, for yourself, to be drafted to Georgia, which has been a very competitive program. But what was the whole draft experience like?
Yeah, so kind of same as John. It was really exciting. It's a strenuous process. You're talking to different teams. You're trying to figure out, where you're going to go and kind of piece it all together. Then you're on the draft. I was reading a ton of tweets saying, teams are trying to trade picks and players and stuff. And I was just trying not to think too much into it. But it was a really exciting experience. And my teammates here did an incredible job of making the night really special. It was a little unfortunate that couldn't be in person, but they did everything they could to make the night as good as they could, and it was an incredible night. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, the big talk, of course, for Georgia was with Randy Stott's out for the year, not clear if he's going to be going back to Georgia at some point, that you would be the guy to step into his shoes, into that role. That's a lot of pressure, again, from the outside. What do you feel going into the Swarm in a year?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm just going to kind of take it one step at a time. And, I've got, thankfully an incredible right side there with, Miles, Lyle, and Randy. So, I'm going to definitely learn a lot, and, it's going to be an adjustment for sure. But I think I got 3, veteran players in the league who, are so incredibly talented and, selfless, but, they're going to do whatever they can to, integrate me into the offense. And, same thing as kind of John said with Maryland. I'm not trying to go in and expect too much. I'm just going to do what I can, play my hardest, and, kind of play my game. And, hopefully it will all work out. I'm sure it will.
Patrick, first of all, love the Canadian flag. I should have mentioned Ryan's, I guess, behind with the combo flag, but we got the flag there. And you go to Albany with the 16th pick. I actually was thinking you were coming out and not going back to school, but you're obviously back at school, which was a factor. I know they feel like they've got a pretty deep team, and they were looking for guys who can step in next year, but they were very excited to get you. From your perspective, seems like a great spot to go. And also, I want to ask about you being I think the first guy from Windsor to go in the first round of the draft. I've looked back at, Brett Hickey and all the guys from the area,
I think
Logan Holmes.
I think Liam LeClaire went really early to Calgary.
Yes, that's right. I was forgetting about his Windsor roots. And did Kellen went in the second round, right?
I'm not 100% sure, but I know Liam was a high pick. He developed really well in Junior A at Six Nations and just became he's a freak athlete too. So he's doing very well.
Yeah, I appreciate the correction because I was trying to get that straight. But for you going to Albany, what's that situation like for you? I know it was a little more up in the air because the further, we had a pretty good idea Jonathan and Ryan would be among the top 2 or 3 picks. For you, once it gets past that few picks, it's so much harder to guess, right? What's going to happen?
Yeah, and I'm very thankful for Albany, but that was the only team I didn't talk to. So like I didn't expect it at all. And I got the call and I was just like, a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And I'm like, all right, now we're like ready to go. I'm excited. And it was just a great moment that I didn't even expect to happen. So it was a blindside, but I'm thankful for it. And it was awesome.
I had you in my mock draft at 17, the next pick going to Panther City. So I don't know if you had seen that. Maybe you were thinking when Albany's on, I haven't talked to them. I guess maybe Stamper's going to get one right.
Yeah, I was just like, all right, so I haven't talked to them. I'll just wait it out a little bit more. There's some teams I've talked to coming up, so we'll see what happens. But I did not expect the Albany pick at all. But I'm happy and I'm excited. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, it's quite a program. They've got a lot of depth. And again, a lot of veterans like Jonathan and Ryan talked about, a lot of veterans that you're going to be able to learn from. And I know they're expecting you to bring a lot to the table as well. Jack, I want to ask you about largely one of the big items for you, of course, going into the draft is your versatility. You can play at the front door. You can play at the back door. You did both for the Beaches, largely playing up front, but you did a lot of things for them. And then with Oakville this summer, same thing. You started at the front door, then they had like a million righties. So you're going at the back door, which is probably where a lot of people see you. Do you have a preference? Do you think that makes a big difference for you in terms of your ability to make a team? What's your feeling on that?
Growing up, I always wanted to play offense, but, as I've gotten older and kind of understanding my own strength, it doesn't really matter to me. I just kind of want to go somewhere and help the team out anywhere.
What was the draft night experience like for you? There were projections for you going anywhere from as high as 10th. I think I saw someone projecting, and you wind up going at 21 to New York, which is a good spot in terms of opportunity because it is a young team. But was it a agonizing process as you're waiting to hear what happened?
Yeah, so no, it actually wasn't at all. I was on a team retreat. We had no electronics or anything. So as soon as the night ended, my coach Tambroni kind of announced it to the team. So, I didn't have to wait at all. It was exciting. I had all my teammates around me. no pressure there, and it was definitely a good experience for sure.
Thanks. Okay, I want to talk to all of you about, as I mentioned, you all played for Team Ontario when you were 15 years old as minor midgets, which is not that normal. It's usually the teams will be full of major midgets of 16-year-olds. Brad MacArthur was coaching along with the full coaching staff got together. I know they were pretty keen to bring you all along, and you guys go and win national championships at Iroquois Park in Whitby. I'm curious what that was like, if it seemed a little strange at all, if it just seemed normal to be on the team. And I know there's a range. I mean, Jack, you were saying that was your first time on a Team-O, and Ryan, that was your fifth time. So who wants to jump in and just talk about that whole experience?
I can go first here.
Yeah.
I just remember the talent on the team. That's kind of what I remember. That was my first time really getting to play with Jeff Teat and a couple of the other older guys on the team. And it was, I think everybody realized at the time, like, it wasn't something we look back on and, we didn't realize how good that team was. It was like, at the time, everyone was kind of like, holy cow, we really have a collection of talent here. And the Iroquois team that we ended up playing in the finals was, basically equally as talented, had superstars all over the floor. So that's what I remember, is just getting to take in like how many good lacrosse players are here. So that's my spiel.
What was the score of the final against Iroquois?
6-5, I believe.
That's right. So Ryan, while you're in, what do you remember of it again? We mentioned it was your fifth time. And was it a little old hat for you, or were you kind of in the same situation as Jonathan with just seeing the talent and being kind of blown away?
Yeah, I think that I always kind of reminisce about that year with people and say that might have been my most special year of Team Ontario. I think your first is always an incredible experience, and that's one that you always cherish. But when I look back, that's kind of the one that sticks out to me. I think for the same reasons, ultra talented team, but I would say just the tight-knit relationships on the team was, not that it wasn't in past years like this, but I think just was on another level. As we have so many good memories, in the hotel and, in the vans, driving to games in the locker room. That's honestly like half the stuff that I remember most. On the floor is, another story. And that's, like John said, that's an incredible team. And, looking back, the names on that team were unbelievable. But I remember a lot of the little things and, the relationships off the floor.
So, Patrick, you were, as we've mentioned, coming in from Windsor, and you hadn't come and played with Burlington as you did eventually. So you're a little bit geographically probably coming from further than some of the guys, and it may have been a bit of a new process. What was it like for you jumping into that group? And Ryan talked about how close-knit all the relationships were. What was it like for you that year?
It was unbelievable. I got a couple of years of Team-O under my belt before that. And then with that group, I got to know some guys a little bit, and all the guys are always really welcoming, and it's unbelievable. Like, you come in from Windsor, you're not usually, you're not used to playing like that high level lacrosse. And you just see these guys, and like, it takes you a couple days on the floor because you get yourself just watching these great players play, and you got to kind of acclimate. And over time, I kind of figured it out, but there was no way I was thinking about crossing half with that team. Like, there's too many good players on the offense and defensive side of the ball. I just did my job, and it was a great opportunity. One of the favorite things is, like, I never had Final Six growing up like they did. So like, this was like the best part of my summer. I looked forward to this like every year. Like, I wanted it to always be Team-O, and I didn't want to play anything else. Like, you get treated like a pro at a young age, and I just wanted to just keep doing that forever. So it was an unbelievable experience.
And Jack, we've talked about before we came on air about how you guys didn't get to do it forever. None of you actually went and played the next year on Team-O because, as you said, it overlapped with the Final Six that Patrick was talking about. So did you have any clue at the time that this was going to be it, your Team-O shot?
No, I didn't. I actually, I never tried out for Team Ontario as a minor. But because I hadn't been making it as a major, my dad and I kind of decided that, like, maybe, get my name in there or whatever, for the following year. So yeah, just kind of got lucky enough to actually make the team. And I mean, that experience was just awesome. like the drive, the vans to the games and stuff. Like I felt like a pro athlete. Like I was like, this is awesome. These guys are so sick. Like the whole thing was just an unbelievable experience, and definitely grateful that it happened.
And now, of course, you are all on the verge of becoming professional athletes. Another year at school for everyone. But in that nationals, obviously the game against Iroquois was huge. But is there any moment from the tournament that any of you remember as being like a key moment? You all talked about the camaraderie, the van rides, and how cool that was. Anything either on or off the floor otherwise that just really stands out for you as a moment?
I'm not sure about one moment, but one thing that I remember that some people probably don't know is that Six Nations and Whitby were playing in the Ontario finals in Junior A at the same week. So that's part of the reason why there were so many Six Nations fans like around Whitby, and then it seemed like every night either we were playing or we were going to those games. And I remember like almost like feeling like we were like a part of, like I almost felt like we were a part of that. It was like, like where people are coming to see us, just like they're coming to see the Junior A's, and obviously probably a lot more people are going to watch the Junior A's. But I remember that kind of simultaneously happening, and it's just cool to like on our nights off, we'd go watch these like insane, awesome lacrosse games.
Yeah, that was quite a series too. And anyone remember what the crowds were like for your games when you were playing in the nationals?
I mean, in my head, it was packed. But
sold out. Looking up, not one open seat.
How hot was it? Because Iroquois Park can get pretty warm during the summer, late summer.
I remember being really hot, and I also remember just that final game. It felt like just the longest, most tiring game I've ever played in. I just felt that it was the first time that we really had a game. We kind of walked through everyone in the tournament. I think we beat Iroquois like 11-1 or 2 something. Don't quote me on that, but we beat them up pretty well in the round robin. And then in that final game, it's like we actually have like a really good game here. I think we might have been down or tied for a lot of it. So I just remember like going through that game thinking like this feels like the longest game I've played in forever. Like it was like draining.
Wow. When did the March, like with the 6-5 game, I'm trying to remember what happened in terms of where you guys, you said you got down a little. I mean, when did you get the winning goals? What was the whole sequence in that game?
The game winning goal was, it wasn't sudden death overtime, but it was a Davis Neal, ripped it from pretty deep, but I mean, he had a cannon, but just an outside shot. And then it wasn't sudden death. So it was like you wanted to sell, like you had just won it, but we still had game to play.
Right. So it was in overtime.
Yeah.
But you played the full 10-minute overtime as tended to be the case. So how far into the overtime? Anyone remember when Davis got that goal?
Honestly, not sure. I don't remember that one as much as maybe these guys do.
I think there was a little bit like more time than we wanted because I think we had to play a little bit more D than we wanted at the end, just like holding our sticks a little tight on the back door.
Wow. Such an exciting memory for everyone to share. And now, do you guys ever like get together and chat other than this, where I've kind of brought you together? Have you guys had a chance to talk about that once in a while, or does that memory come up for you guys?
I mean, I think in a sense that, because of our relationship off the floor, just with, Burlington, me and Pat and, me and John have been, really good friends forever, playing minor, and then me and Jack are now on the rock together. You have these conversations a lot, and we get to know each other, in other ways. So, this conversation definitely, comes up from time to time, but I think that just because of our relationship, we do see each other and talk to each other, a lot more than maybe some other guys on that team.
Obviously, some great memories from junior for you all as well. I do want to talk a little bit about MSL as well, because you guys got into the MSL Classic. Everyone got a chance to play, and to me, it was great both that the OJLL got to do their season and that MSL got to do a season, both leagues playing an 8-game schedule. Anybody want to talk about what it was like to get back on the floor and get to compete with and against some terrific players?
Yeah, I mean, I can go first here. For me, it was great. Obviously, I didn't get to play this spring at Cornell, so it's been a long time coming. And on the topic of this conversation, playing for Brad MacArthur and Coach Crosby again this summer was cool because I haven't played for them since this nationals tournament that we're talking about. So there's nothing like playing in games. You can practice as much as you want, work out as much as you want. There's nothing like actually playing in games. So to get back in the swing of things was fun.
Ryan and Jack, you guys were playing together for some games in Oakville. And what was it like with the Rock? Early on, things went fairly well, right?
Yeah, things were going really well. I think our lineup, got a little younger and younger each game, which I think was good. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of really good young guys. So the future is definitely bright for Oakville. But yeah, I think with each game that went by, we got a little younger and a little less experienced. I think that kind of weighed into, the outcomes of our games. But, it was an incredible experience. Like I said, there's so much talent on the floor. Just, being back out there and playing the game you love. I mean, even if it wasn't, a normal season with, a huge man cup on the line or anything like that, just anytime you're out there playing, the game you love, it's, you got to cherish those moments.
Jack, there was talk about the curse of the red shirts when Oakville's new jerseys came in, right? But Mike Hancock made it pretty clear it wasn't the jerseys. It was just like Ryan said, the roster getting younger, some close games. But what about you? How did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was awesome. Super grateful that was able to happen. It was my first time playing box in like 3 years. So super happy to get back out there and get in the box. Obviously, personally felt super, super rusty. You can't really replicate a box lacrosse game from cardio to just hands and things like that. But super, super happy to be out there with the guys and obviously great to play with Lanch and some really, really talented people.
Patrick, you got into a handful of games with Owen Sound, right? And I'm curious, Jack mentioned the rust. I thought early on everyone did look a little rusty. You could see a bit here and there, but I thought overall the quality of play was really high. Maybe we were just all so thirsty for it that we're just so excited. But to me, it looked like the play was actually really good, better than we might have expected, given that it had been so long for everyone.
Yeah, the play was good. There was at times where we got sloppy, but everybody was just like, all the older guys were like grabbing young guys and putting them on their wing, teaching. Everybody was teaching the whole time. So it made the process a lot easier for me. Like I had to get acclimated to the speed a little bit, acclimated to the style of play. And these guys are just like kind of coaching you while we play. And you're kind of figuring it out as you go. But I had a lot of great guys around me to kind of help me out. So I was so thankful for the opportunity and I had a blast out there.
We're basically running out of time. It actually went a little longer than we intended, but it's just so much fun to hear everyone's recollections, get the four of you together. And it's pretty cool to reminisce back to that Team O of 2013, I guess it would have been, right? The Nationals. And I want to thank you all for coming on. And just, is there anything anyone wants to add about the whole experience or?
I'll just add one thing.
Yeah.
Just the coaching we received that whole week was just unbelievable. I can still remember going back to my Toronto Beaches team after that and like implementing like power plays and like things like that. Just learn so much from our coaching staff and super grateful that they took us along for the ride.
Let's give them a shout out. We've mentioned Brad MacArthur, Jason Crosby. I think one of you mentioned. Who else was on that staff?
Ian George.
Okay, so that was the group. Excellent. Thank you for bringing that up because that's we should have done that. We should have done that in the first place. Thanks so much, guys, for coming on. It's a real blast. Jonathan Donville, Ryan Lanchbury, Jack Kelly, Patrick Kaschalk. Really fun to have you all on, and we certainly wish you all the best in your coming collegiate seasons. And I know everyone's excited to see you on National Lacrosse League floors coming up in what seems like a long time, but time is so hard to keep track of these days after the pandemic. It'll probably be just around the corner. We're going to see you all playing professional lacrosse. Thanks so much, everyone. All right, that's it for this week. No rundown because we wanted to maximize our time with 4 fine young men and fine lacrosse players, Jonathan Donville, Ryan Lanchbury, Patrick Kaschalk, and Jack Kelly. Thank you so much to the 4 of them for coming on, gracing us with their presence here on Lacrosse Link. And thank you, lacrosse friends, for gracing us with your presence. As always, we're very grateful to you for being part of our audience, and we are excited to be bringing you everything lacrosse here on Lacrosse Link. We'll see you next time.